Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Senate District 19. It is a pleasure seeing all of you here today on this very important event. Governor Hochul, welcome again to Senate District 19. You've come to my district on several occasions, first as Lieutenant Governor and now as our duly sworn governor. Today I'm excited to be here with you, my colleagues, advocates here in Brownsville. And everyone, yes, this is Brownsville, to sign this critical legislation that will help many food insecure New Yorkers who cannot prepare or cook food purchased with SNAP benefits in their dwelling spaces. It is an exciting day for all of us who've advocated for this. Some New Yorkers may be temporarily sheltered in an efficiency unit or hotel without food or kitchen service access. Many seniors and people with disabilities living in the communities cannot prepare or cook their meals without assistance from a caretaker, and so this legislation is important to them. Under this legislation that I've sponsored with my colleague, Assemblymember Karina Reyes, the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance will apply to the federal government for authorization to operate this statewide restaurant hot meals program. It is not only exciting for constituents who utilize SNAP benefits, but for the entire restaurant industry. It is a win-win for everyone. This is not an abstract concept. A month ago, when Hurricane Ida ravaged many neighborhoods in New York, Long Island and elsewhere, SNAP recipients displaced from their homes were immediately allowed to purchase hot or prepared meals. Again, it's not a novel idea that we're bringing up today. COVID-19 made existing food insecurity exponentially more acute, and New York has been innovative. In her previous capacity as food czar for New York City, State Operations Director Catherine Garcia set up a nimble and expensive emergency food delivery infrastructure. This site here was a hub for that food distribution. And so we have been doing food distribution all along. The program has been responsive to varying dietary needs and religious traditions. Still, we must keep in mind that many of these emergency programs across New York State are temporary. Many New Yorkers will return to normal congregate meal sites which will be fully operational again. The bill that Governor Hochul is signing today recognizes the ongoing emergency faced by disabled, displaced, and older New Yorkers who cannot prepare meals before the pandemic, and so this will assist them ongoing. Once OTDA has been approved by USDA, New York will be joining other states, including Arizona, California, and very soon, Illinois, in providing the option eligible to SNAP beneficiaries. Governor Hochul, thank you again for your swift and compassionate response to our request to have this legislation signed. Assemblymember Karina's and I are excited today for what will be happening. So, my constituents, the constituents who are served by Assemblymember Latrice Walker, who's here, the constituents who are served by Assemblymember Karina's, all of our constituents will be excited. And to all of the merchants who will benefit from this program, we thank you for your participation. I'd like to quickly, before I call up on our governor, acknowledge some of my colleagues who are here today. Assemblymember Latrice Walker, we're in her district. Assemblymember Robert Rodriguez. We will be joined also shortly by Assemblymember Andrew Hevesy, Councilmember Stephen Levin, and Senator Jabari Brisport. We're also joined today by Gary Jenkins, HRA Administrator, Rachel Sabila, No Kids Hungry, Amy Sonneman, United Way of New York City, Tommy Grassi, Melito Health and Welfare Council of Long Island. Zach Hall, Food Bank of NYC. Dr. Melody Samuel, I saw her campaign against hunger. I thank all of you for being here today on this exciting time for us. And without further ado, I'd like to call up my friend, someone I'm proud to work with, the Governor of the State of New York, Kathy Hochul.
Good morning, Brownsville. Oh, okay, you can do a little better than that. This is a good news day, my friends. First of all, to my great friend Roxanne Persaud, we have been sisters since she first found her way to our state capitol, and I could see in her this deeply held passion for the people she represents, and we've done so much together. And she continually says, I don't think I've seen her once when she says, when are you coming back to my district? When are you coming back to my district? I say, I was just there yesterday. I was there the day before. But she's persistent, but she's impactful. Now let's give her another round of applause for our greatest ever. Also, the co-sponsor of a bill that's so important that we're going to be talking about in a couple minutes that you heard about, Assemblymember Carinas Reyes, I want to thank you for what you have done, not just on this bill, but how you've put your heart and soul into your work as well. It's leaders like this who are truly transforming our state, and I want to thank them for their leadership on these issues. Assemblymember Latrice Walker, yes, I'm always in your district too. I know. You're saying, how come you're not in my district? Right? So thank you for all you do, and Assemblymember Rob Rodriguez and all the other partners in state government. I truly, having been and served in every level of government there is, I want to thank you for your incredible partnership and helping just bring the needs of your constituents to the forefront when we're taking action in Albany, and even when we're not in session, just making sure that people are taken care of. So to our elected leaders in this room, let me give you all an extra round of applause. We have amazing partners in the private sector, and you have been called to be superheroes during this pandemic. The extraordinary pressure that you and your teams have been under. On a given day, non-pandemic world, you are already out there scrambling to get the resources, the money, the food into your facilities to get them out to needy New Yorkers, and then you throw a pandemic on top of it. You truly are the unseen heroes who need to get recognized, and I want to thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for your advocacy of the bills that I'm signing today to make a difference in the lives of New Yorkers. Again, let's give all of our partners a round of applause. You'll be hearing from Andrew Riggi in a couple minutes at the end here, and he's the executive director of the New York City Hospitality Association. I can't think of another industry that's been harder hit than the hospitality industry in the state of New York than the New York City Hospitality Association. We have to do whatever we can to bring you back, not just because of the restaurants and association members that you represent are the heart and soul of New York, but also the thousands of jobs that just aren't back yet until we can fully say this pandemic is behind us. And I thank you for hanging in there, as well as Jerome Nathaniel from City Harvest. Thank you for all you've done. We've visited many times. You guys are just extraordinary. And I want to thank all of you. I think Senator Brisport will be here as well in a few minutes. Today is about feeding people. It's very simple. Basic human need. To be fed. And that whole premise of what is a simple proposition that people deserve to have food on their table, and little children go to bed not with their tummies growling, but with a full sense that they have been nourished and they have the ability to continue and do well in school, and people can just have a good, healthy life. That is as basic as it gets, my friends. And that right has been denied for too long through no fault of anybody else's other than this pandemic has been brutal. It has turned people's lives upside down in ways we could not have foreseen 18 months ago. And the duration of this, people thought, I was at the food banks early on, well, we're doing okay. We have this Nourish New York program. We're bringing money in, or produce from farms all over the state to help the farmers. We get it out to people. It was a military operation like I've never seen. And I've been in Afghanistan, my friends, so I've seen military operations. I was so impressed with what I've seen when I visit your many facilities. But how do we know it would just keep going on and on and on, and jobs weren't coming back? And in addition to the stress about people's jobs they lost their ability to feel secure in their homes when people couldn't make their rental payments. And that's why, again, I thank our legislators for coming back in the first days of my brand new administration, coming back in the end of the midsummer to say, yes, we'll do what it takes to extend the eviction moratorium, to do what it takes to keep people in their homes. Okay, they're in their homes, that's great. But they also have to eat. And so many people have challenges, people who are elderly and disabled, and when someone can't come in and take care of them every day, my father's taken care of by people. If the aide calls in sick, I'm not sure my dad is eating that day. That's the stress that people feel. So why not, with this whole advent of people relying on the delivery services, the takeout food, the ability to get your dinner from a restaurant when you might have thought, I'll just make it at home, that is a lifesaver. That is what we're offering today, a way to do things differently with our SNAP program and to start the process so we can join 3 other states and be among the first to say, why not? Why not help the restaurants that need the income? Why not make it easier for people with disabilities and our elderly and even people who don't even have a home to cook and are homeless? They have to eat too. So that's what this is all about, to find a way to get those programs to them. We also increased our SNAP benefits. So a family of 4 will see their allotment go from $680 to $835 under the new plan, which still does not sound like a lot, my friends, but it is something. You can give that a round. I look like you want to clap on that. You can clap that. That'll bring an additional $1.4 billion from federal funding to New Yorkers. So we are going to allow our homeless, elderly, and disabled SNAP recipients to use their benefits to purchase prepared and hot food from participating restaurants. That'll make sure those who are the most in need in our state will have the resources they need. But also, let's just take a look at our restaurants. It has been so long and hard. I spent 5 years working in a tiny restaurant, making chicken wings and pizza and pasta, and I cooked the food, I served the food, I took the phone orders. I have scars on my arm to show how hot the oven was when I made the pizzas and didn't do it very well. And here I was, a 15, 16, 17-year-old. I have a deep appreciation for the entrepreneurs who start a restaurant because they often give people their first job. We have to keep them alive and healthy. I'm today announcing a $25 million restaurant resiliency program to help the restaurant industry continue facing the challenges from COVID-19. Let's get that money in their hands. Let's give them a hand. And what we're going to do is, along the lines of Nourish New York, we're going to award funding from the New York Department of Health to New York's network of food banks across the state. They will be able to purchase food from the restaurants to get out to the people they serve. It's that simple. Let's just get that done. So we've been through some extraordinary times, but what we're doing today, increasing the ability for people to use the SNAP benefits in restaurants directly, giving more money to our restaurants, and giving more money to individuals directly to increase the amount they have to purchase food. This is how we start bringing the state back and start taking care of people in their most vulnerable times. That is my highest priority. Get through this pandemic, get people vaccinated. And I don't want to bring in any negative news, but this zip code only has a 48% vaccination rate. Can we leave here today committed to the cause of bringing more people to the realization that the only way we're getting out of this pandemic, and we don't have to worry about these emergency food sources the way we have to right now, or emergency assistance for people who are going to lose their rent, because they will have their jobs back, they'll have their lives back. That's how we start getting back to whatever the new normal is going to be. All I know is that the status quo, we're getting real tired of it, aren't we, friends? We are real tired of the way things have been, and we need to start breaking through. The only way to have a true breakthrough is to get more people vaccinated, particularly in these most vulnerable communities like where we are. So thank you, everyone, for participating today. Thank you for being here, but more when we leave. This is not about a press conference. It's about what you're going to do and we're going to do when we leave here and directly affect the lives of our brothers and sisters who are struggling right now. They need our help right now, and we're here to deliver that for them. Thank you very much.
I'd now like to call on Jerome Nathaniel, Director of Policy and Government Relations, City Harvest.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jerome Nathaniel. I'm the Director of Policy and Government Relations at City Harvest. And I'm also happy to say that I'm a longtime resident of East New York, so it's great to be here. I'm very thankful and grateful to be here with the governor, as well as Senator Prasad and Assemblymember Reyes and other elected leaders for their leadership in making sure that the restaurant meal program has been signed, and also for the increases in SNAP. City Harvest has existed since 1982, so over the past 40 years, we have been serving New Yorkers facing food insecurity. Since last March, City Harvest delivered over 200 million pounds of food to hungry New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs. That's 200 million pounds. Many of those families also rely on the SNAP program. Just to share a few stories, we know that many of the families that go to our pantries are also in the SNAP program. Unfortunately, towards the end of the month, a lot of families that use our services run out of SNAP benefits. So the increase is very critical for helping families make it through the end of the month. We also know that sometimes our parents or our grandparents who might be shut in, and we have to make sure that they're able to eat tonight. Before this, if they were in a SNAP program, they wouldn't have been able to buy a prepared or hot meal. So as the governor said, if someone wasn't able to feed our parents or grandparents, we might have to worry, how are they going to eat tonight? Are they going to have a hot or prepared meal? I also think of some New Yorkers that might be homeless or displaced that go to City Harvest programs. How will they prepare their food at home if they don't have a home or they don't have a kitchen? That is why I'm very thankful for the leadership of the governor, the senator, and the assembly member, and all the advocates here today for making sure that this very important program is moving forward in New York, and also for the increases in SNAP that are going to help families make it through the end of the month and being able to access hot meals, prepared meals, and nutritional meals at a time when food can be more expensive than ever. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Andrew Ridgey.
Good morning. My name is Andrew Ridgey. I am the Executive Director of the New York City Hospitality Alliance. Of course, I'd like to thank the governor, the assembly member, the senator, and everyone else, the advocates in this room. As the governor put it, you know, our state and our city's restaurant industry has been devastated by the pandemic. We've lost thousands of beloved businesses. We're still about 120,000 jobs short in our city's restaurants and bars compared to pre-pandemic employment levels. And we know that our restaurants are anchors of our community, and they're in crisis. But we also know that our fellow New Yorkers that are hungry, they have been in crisis as well. And when our restaurants were shutting down, losing their livelihoods, laying their workers up, what happened? Our restaurants came together. We helped feed our neighbors, feed our communities in need. I see here Andrew from Fusion. I see Luca from Taro Luci Vino, our presidents of the Hospitality Alliance, Melba Wilson, and Jonathan from Queens Together. These are people that got together with restaurants, their own and others in the neighborhood, that helped feed New Yorkers. And being able to be here with our elected leaders to see them pass legislation that is going to help feed New Yorkers in need while at the same time supporting our local restaurants is really, really heartwarming, because I know all the work that all of you do collectively, and that if we want New York to recover, we need people and kids going to school without their bellies growling, going to bed without their bellies growling. And we know we need our restaurants being vibrant in our communities and employing people in our communities. So it's just really incredible to be able to stand here today with legislation that helps our whole entire New York City ecosystem, both from a social standpoint and an economic standpoint, and making sure that we're feeding people. Because we know the one thing that brings people together, no matter what culture, what background you're from, is food, and restaurants are social spaces. So thank you so much for doing this again. Thank you to all the advocates, and you know you have a partner in the New York City Hospitality Alliance. Thank you. Senator Prasad, are you?
So before I announce our next speaker, I just would like to really thank Jerry Charles and the staff here at BRC for allowing us to use their facilities today. And I also saw the Yemeni American Merchant Association is here. They've been working tirelessly during this pandemic to assist with food distribution. I'd now like to call on Andrew Walcott. Andrew Walcott, the owner of Fusion East restaurant here in East New York.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Brownsville. It's great to be so many great elected officials and advocates to support feeding New Yorkers and providing relief to restaurants. I'm a restaurant owner myself. I opened up Fusion East in October 2015. We just had our 6-year anniversary a few days ago. And we'll be opening a second restaurant in Brownsville in the next year or two as well. We already have a food truck here, but we're going to expand upon that in the very near future. I created Fusion East to create a place within the East New York and hopefully the Brownsville community that will reflect the people, the character of that community, and let people know that there's great things going on throughout the whole East New York community. I'm a child of immigrants. My parents are originally from Barbados, but I was raised in East New York for over the past 40 years. And I know that New York is the greatest city in the world, that we will overcome all the problems and difficulties we're seeing together. The past 2 years have really tested my own belief and others' belief in New York City. But as everyone in this room knows, the economic shutdown hit the service industry very hard, including restaurants. Many restaurants temporarily closed, such as mine, but some others had it even worse, and they closed and closed permanently. As New York recovers from this pandemic, we will recognize the vital role that restaurants play in feeding and supporting local communities such as Brownsville. I am grateful to elected leaders such as Governor Hochul, Senator Prasad, and Assemblywoman Reyes for their support of a strong recovery for restaurants and other small businesses. Their leadership will not only make sure that restaurants like mine stay open, but that they thrive in the future as well. Their commitments will not only make sure families and communities like Brownsville and East New York stay afloat, but that they thrive and stay healthy. Today is just about that. Please welcome an amazing advocate for this community, Assemblywoman Reyes.
Good afternoon. I want to express pride and appreciation in Governor Hochul for signing this important bill today, which will provide more relief to hundreds of thousands of vulnerable New Yorkers throughout the state. This legislation will allow our state to enroll in the federal restaurant meals program and set up a state program to ensure that seniors, the disabled, and the homeless can use their SNAP benefits to purchase nutritiously prepared meals at participating grocery stores, delis, and restaurants at concessionary prices. The existing regulation for SNAP benefits only leave the underserved with benefits that they are unable to use to their fullest potential. In many cases, homeless individuals may not have access to working kitchens to make food for themselves. Seniors and disabled persons may have challenges that prevent them from being able to prepare their own meals. This policy change is sorely needed to allow more marginalized New Yorkers to have the tools to lead dignified lives. This is a program that changes the current dynamic in favor of lifting people up. Food is a human right, and this bill takes our state one step further to ensuring that human right is fully afforded to all people. Additionally, this policy brings us in line with other states and localities that have successfully implemented this policy. States like Illinois, Arizona, Rhode Island, and several localities in California have enacted and enrolled in this program. Further, this policy is not new to our state. New York and 8 other states had a similar phased-out program to expand use of benefits in this way back in the 1980s. This legislation will provide people with empowerment and increased use of their current benefits, while allowing small businesses and restaurants to get access to crucially needed support during this persistent economic crisis. I want to express gratitude to the following individuals and organizations that worked with me and helped me this day possible. State Senator Roxanne Prasad, for being a partner and agreeing to carry this bill with me in 2019, and for her work in passing it in the Senate. Speaker Hasty, Assembly members and committee chairs who aren't here, but Andrew Hevesy, Linda Rosenthal, and Helene Weinstein for helping to move this bill through the Assembly. The New York City Council member Farrah Lewis of Brooklyn, who passed a resolution in the New York City Council in support of this bill and policy priority. And this would not have happened with the support of advocates such as No Kid Hungry, AARP New York, Live On New York, SAGE, the nonprofit Feed Forward, and the Empire State Restaurant and Tavern Association. And I'm supposed to close out the program. They told me I have to do it in a Brooklyn fashion. I don't know how to do that, but the BX is in Brownsville. Thank you.
That's okay. We are welcoming here in Brooklyn. That's all we have to say. So, it is what you've all been waiting for. Governor Hochul? Governor Hochul will now sign the legislation. If my colleagues would come over. Assembly members?
See a few bills to make sure we have enough. I should have gone with my longer name, but Kathleen would have allowed more pens. I should have stuck with Kathleen, right?
That was a pretty intense process.
I will confess that I was a little bit rebellious in grade school, and the nuns were trying to teach me how to have beautiful cursive, and I just didn't pay attention, so we're stuck with this handwriting. And how about that? The last letter, last pen. Perfect. All right, there we go.